All right, welcome to the Beyond Coaching podcast. Today we have Ryan Hansen, owner of Intrepid Strength Conditioning and Warwick Weightlifting Club. Ryan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely, man. So Ryan, let's take it back, dude. You opened a gym. Was it in 2009?
2010.
Okay. Take me back to opening the gym. Why did you decide to take that step, man?
I always want to help somebody or help people, so that was the biggest thing. And then there's two decisions: whether to open up a bar, be an entrepreneur, and open up a bar, or open up a gym. And that's kind of where I went with that. So helping people, can't really help people opening up a bar, so I opened up a gym.
Very nice.
Different kind of help at a bar.
Absolutely. And when you opened the gym, tell me about, I know back then it was a CrossFit gym. What was the decision to open up a CrossFit gym? Why did you do that? And I know even now you're no longer a CrossFit gym. Tell me about that, man.
So we opened up Intrepid Strength and Conditioning, CrossFit Warwick, 2010. I found it in a Health and Fitness or Muscle and Fitness magazine. There was a Marine that opened up CrossFit LA, Andy Perchernik or something like that. He opened up CrossFit LA. It looked like a group fitness thing, and like in the Marine Corps, that's what we did. So it seemed like the next logical step once I got out was like, oh, let's open this. I got out in 2007. It was kind of like lost in the sauce for a little while. And then, doing my own fitness thing, found this CrossFit thing, seemed like it was the right way to go. And I was like, let's open a gym. That's where I went. And CrossFit seemed like the logical thing because, finding it in that magazine, a Marine was doing it. There's a group of people working out, sweating like I was in the Marine Corps. And that's kind of what made me want to do the gym or a CrossFit gym.
Were you a lifter?
Go for it. No, go for it, Max.
A lifter before? Did you do any kind of stuff before the Marines, or was this just like
I always kind of liked working out. I worked out for football or whatever and things like that. But I never really, there was no like gyms around that kids really went to in my town. There was really nothing in my town. So I was like, I had like some free weights and that my mom got me for like Christmas. But other than that, I haven't really had anything. And then when I joined the Marine Corps, our barracks had they took a multi-purpose room and made a gym out of it. So I was in the Marine Corps. We worked in the brig. It was a prison. That's what my job was. So we didn't have access to go to the gym all the time. So work a 24-hour shift when I was in, they would like, hey, here, go use the gym. So we had all this equipment and free weights and everything like that. And a bunch of guys were squatting, a bunch of guys were bodybuilders who kind of fell into that realm. We'd all just kind of work out together and train in that bodybuilding, living on the beach kind of deal.
Where were you stationed?
The first year I was in Okinawa, Japan. That was a little different. We had access to a gym and we worked a different shift. But when I went to North Carolina, which was Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, that's where I kind of really got into training more. A lot of guys were into bodybuilding, like that beach look, but we were all trained. And I would always my thing was I was always strong in the squats or the deadlift stuff. Even though I had no idea what the hell I was doing, I was that was always more made more sense to me in general to do.
Definitely. What was the hardest part about leaving the military and then running a business? Were you just going in blind and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to do this thing pretty much?
So I don't know if I was going in blind. I grew up, my family owned businesses. My mom had 2 delis. We had a gas station, automotive repair shops. There was always something. My dad was a mechanic that ran, would work on people's cars out of his van. So it was always around. I had an idea on how to do a business per se. But when I got out, there was no support, no nothing. There's nothing like it is today out there for the gym space or anything like that. So I just kind of went for it. There was no I was just I'll go try to find a space and find out how to rent that. And I'm I'll just rent this. And then the guy was well, you need we need to sign a lease. I'm what the hell's a lease? And I'm like, oh, we got to get a lawyer involved. I'm like, lawyer? I'm like, it's just me and you. Let's go. I don't know. So those things like, like I was super like green, I guess. Like I just was like excited to open up a business and just tried to do it. I didn't really like think about anything.
I feel like that's like the most common story. Like I think so many of us have done that same thing. Like you've been around somebody who's owned businesses, you've been around somebody who's like, growing up with a parent who ran a business, it seemed like a normal thing, like an attainable thing. Like, oh, my dad ran a small business, I could do that.
Yeah.
And then the next leap is not like, how do you run a business? It's just like, I'm going to start one. It's like you said, like get a space, do this, just rent it, just go. I just want to do the thing.
Yeah.
And that's like, I feel like that's exactly how I got into it. Zach, kind of similar, right? Like I remember the day Zach told me he was starting a gym and he was partnering with somebody we knew. And I remember him sitting on the couch in my apartment. And I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. And like, obviously he's super successful, but it's like, it's almost like if you don't have that naivety to like, I should just do this, you might never start. Like you could be paralyzed by all the like, oh, you got to do this right and that right. And if you knew you needed a lawyer, would you have just like avoided doing it and all these things?
Yeah.
So it's funny.
I think that would have happened. Like, I think I would have been like a lawyer, like, oh, like after, all that stuff, I'd have been like, oh, beforehand, I would have been like, oh, that's a lot of things I got to do. Like, so I think it was just like, it's good to not know and just kind of like, peel the onion, like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Oh, okay. And then it made more sense to me.
Yeah. I was listening one of the podcasts I like to listen to. The founder of Rivian was talking, and he said that if he would have known how hard it was going to be, he wouldn't have done it. And so like the naivety I think is important. And it's funny too, because like I grew up in a family like Max. I think your dad owned a video store. Pause.
He did.
Yeah. And so you saw it, but like I grew up in a family that was all corporate, college educated corporate background. And so me opening a business was like a very scary thing. In fact, like my mom's dad owned a bunch of businesses and went bankrupt like 4 times. And so she was like, this is a very bad thing, like the very negative connotation to the business, and has come to me obviously years later and been like, I was wrong. So proud of you, yada, yada, yada. But that was really hard. I had to like disappoint my parents, dropped out of school for a bit to pursue this. And I was like the failure of the kid, versus my sister who's like doing her MBA now. And so like, we all have the different sort of backstories with it. And for me, it was like, yeah, I'm just going to figure this out. I was like the quote unquote entrepreneur. Like I was selling duct tape wallets in elementary school, just always slinging deals, doing something. But yeah, we all get into it differently. And like, I do think if we know how hard it's going to be, it'd be really hard to start versus just kind of diving into it with like a passion. And I find with gym ownership's an interesting one where it usually starts as a passion project that we have to realize now we have to run a business for this to be successful. And that's like the friction point that I see quite often. So, so when you started, yeah, I know you were like, weren't you going around your city? You saw a building, that was open. You're like, yeah, I'm going to rent this unit. And then, that's the unit you ended up renting. How were your first few years of business? Obviously we're coming off an economical crisis too. If this is 2010, what did that look like?
The first years were I was working federal corrections at the time as a corrections officer, I was in the Marine Corps as a corrections officer, kind of at the time, financial crisis as well. I was trying to be a cop and that was all falling through. No one was hiring anybody. People were getting laid off. So I took this job as a corrections officer, but during that, I was still doing the CrossFit thing, trying to figure out how to open up the gym, found that space. And then, we were like going to a gym in Jersey, like 45 minutes away. And I'm like, oh, when we open, millions of people are going to come flooding in because we're going to be the first ones in our county. We're like maybe the second or third one, but like no one walked in the door. No one knew who we were. Like, so then you have to like figure out how to, get people in the door. And then that was like another step where social media was like a thing, but like not really what it is today. So we were going to like farmers markets. We would, I came up with ideas to like partner with local restaurants. We partnered with a farm to once we went to the farmers markets, partnered with a farm. Our town has a community, like big community, or like a business community that helps a lot. So like we do all their events. We'd go out there, get our name out, talk to people, and just kind of like do everything we could to get our name out. But I think we opened up and sat around for like 3 months. Like, what the hell are we doing here? There's like no one walking in. We would do local 5Ks and bring like medicine balls and run and do push-ups along the side and just kind of do anything we could to get people to notice us. That was the biggest thing.
I find it funny because I hear that. I think it's a similar story for a lot of people. I think that's like a really common thread is you've got so many different avenues to build a business, and like you have to understand, like, before you get into it, you don't even know exactly, like, without having a clearly defined like strategy, like, oh, we could build the gym, and then it could be like the idea in your mind is that the problem is we don't have a gym. If we build the gym, we're going to have customers. Why wouldn't they come? We're the only gym with thick handled dumbbells, and I spent $9,000 on this set, and that's the thing. And then you find out, 3 years later, when you finally sell those things and you're just happy to get rid of it. Like, I think there's a super common thing. Like, a lot of gym owners, a lot of people get into this stuff and they think that like having the thing or the product itself is enough to drive everything else. And that may be true in some things, if you invent something that's totally revolutionary. Yeah. But even everything, I mean, car sales, I always think it's funny is Coca-Cola, right? The little plug there. Yeah. They spend billions of dollars in advertising, and who doesn't know what Coke is? Yeah. Like, everybody knows it exists. So it's like not even the question of like just having it works. Just having the business is going to be the thing that drives sales. But it's funny to hear that because I remember thinking similar stuff. Like, and I think a lot of people get into that spot where they start and it's like, oh, just existing is the most important thing. Then you realize like that's like step one of like 20 steps.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 100%. And so Ryan, I know you were a CrossFit gym. How long were you a CrossFit gym, and why did you decide to de-affiliate?
So we were a CrossFit gym for 15 years. And, during that time, I probably heard from CrossFit HQ, other than like us reaching out or having to do like the judges course, probably like maybe 15 times. Like, once a year, like, hey, is your
once a year quota? They're hitting their once a year quota.
Yeah. Like, and to be honest, like, who cares? Like, I didn't really care at all about it. Like, I was happy to pay my rent to them and use the name, and that was it. They didn't bother me, we didn't bother them. It was like, they helped. The CrossFit name was kind of doing its own thing. Like, if you looked at that time frame, 2010 to like 2015, a lot of the time it was just like the games was big, everybody was doing that, there was people weightlifting, and the weightlifting was growing, and all that stuff was awesome at that time. And then politics get involved and whatever else, but then once it sold, I think it kind of lost its flavor, right? A lot of it, our affiliate fee went from $2,000 to $4,500, and I'm like, what are we doing here? There's not, I've been paying pretty religiously for 15 years, and now we're going to pay double the amount. And then like before it was like, it's okay to pay $2,000, but we're using the name. We're not really getting anything out of it, really. But now, we got to pay $4,500, and we're not really getting anything out of it. I don't know if that was a good business model. I think with like having more affiliates, you would have more people doing the level ones. You would grow the business, or like grow more CrossFit gyms that way. But they raised the rates, and I think a lot of affiliates kind of took off. And I think in our CrossFit gyms or individual CrossFit gyms, like, we were left alone to do our own thing, and we kind of came up with what works best for us. Over the years, I think like, you go to this place, a lot of people have like the same idea, but like, CrossFit's strength on one day, running on another day. Like, If I did that, I wouldn't have a business. My doors would be closed. Like my athletes or my clients, they like the strength and they like, a little conditioning piece or something like that, more like a strength and conditioning based program than per se like, hey, we're going to do 30 muscle ups for time today. That's not necessarily what they want or like what's going to keep them coming back. So stepping away from CrossFit and following just like a basic strength and conditioning program to make people's lives better, I think has been really what the people of Warwick need, and that's who we serve. We don't serve CrossFit.
Do you feel like you would have done, if you'd have gone back in time with CrossFit, do you feel like you leveraged the CrossFit name to the best of your ability, or would you have gone back now looking at it and said like, hey, let's just do our own thing, or maybe dropped it earlier, or would you done something different at all?
There'd be like, so I had to pay my affiliate fee every like July or June. That was our like refresh year. And I'm like, do we got to do this again? Like, it was like,
Yeah.
It was always like, and I've had talks with other affiliate owners as well. It's like, oh shit, we got to come up with this money, or, and then they eventually made you like, you could pay it monthly or whatever. But like, there'd be times where like, well, where are we getting this money from? But like, also like, it always made you question why you're doing it, what you're doing it for every year. But, as it went on and then it obviously went up. And I don't know if I used it like, I was talking to somebody, I was just at the CrossFit Games on Friday, this past Friday up in Albany, because it's only like 2 hours away. I was talking to somebody there, and they know me as like owning a CrossFit gym, but they don't know it as CrossFit Warwick. They knew me as like Intrepid strength and conditioning, and I'm like, that's kind of the answer I needed, So like, I didn't really use CrossFit Warwick. I used more Intrepid because we do other things like the weightlifting club and personal training and things like that. So
Definitely.
Right.
And obviously you're located in New York. How did you make it through COVID? Because I remember, obviously we're in California and we had our own issues being in states like ours. But how did you get through that time? What did you do to pivot? How'd you stay alive? And what, like, was it close to not staying alive during that time?
So it was definitely close to not staying alive, but so we moved to this location, and our landlord helped us out tremendously at the time. He has a very successful business that he sold and bought this building. So when COVID kicked off and they started closing, they said we got to close for like a week or whatever it was. I called him. I was like, hey, I've never dealt with anything like this. He's like, older, like almost like a father figure kind of deal. And I was like, hey, what can we do here? Like how do you, like, what would you do? And he was like, he's like, I don't really have an answer. I was like, oh, fuck. So then, so then he helped out tremendously with like he has like a bunch of buildings, and like no one had to pay rent for a little while. So that kind of helped out tremendously. And then people stayed on. I went out like everything in the gym to everybody, like come get like this stuff, that stuff. And everyone continued to pay their monthly fee. So it really helped out. Super thankful for every member that stayed on during that time and kind of helped us, because the uncertainty of everything, like even them, like they didn't know if they were going to have jobs. They didn't know if they were ever going to go back to work. So, we did like the Zoom thing, and we tried to meet when we could, when they like opened up more stuff. At the time too, the landlord here put in a parking lot for like 75 cars or something like that. So we had a huge parking lot. I ran like parking lot boot camps when we were allowed to be open. Then we did like, I used the gym as storage space, go in the storage room and grab your equipment and bring it out. So we had like movable racks. We had, barbells outside. And at that time, it was like weird because it was like, I think it rained one time where I had to cancel classes because we couldn't go outside. It was pouring. Other than that, it was like beautiful. There's pictures from that, like the sun coming up in the morning, the sun setting at night. It was like beautiful time. The weather was beautiful, not too hot, not too cold. It was like an odd time in the world, but we ran classes outside and just kind of got through it until we can come inside.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, we had a similar situation. We basically used the same thing. We had an outdoor parking lot. It allowed us to open so much sooner and survive because of that. I know there's a ton of stories like that, different gyms, especially down like in LA and stuff, like, you know, just moving everything outside and you just do it that way. That was rough.
Just dealing.
Yeah.
100%. You know, one of the things that we talked about too is, you know, with your background in the military, I know you came in, and you came in as, you know, more of a harsher leader, harsher coach. How have you shifted over time? How is your coaching philosophy and how you coach? How has that developed over time and changed and shifted with the business and with you?
I mean, with me, I got get softer as I got older, but like definitely have taken it down a notch. You know, when we first opened, like if you were late, you ran 800 meters. If you were late a second time, the class ran 800 meters, and then you got to sit there and watch. Like, shit.
Wow.
Like, how do I have a business? You know, like come in, like shit's fucked up. I throw barbells around. Like I was fucking out of my mind. Some people are like, "Can you throw barbells again?" I'm like, "No." You know, just like
some people are into that.
Yeah, they are 100%. I've had people like, "Can you just do a class like that, like Marine Corps drill instructor stuff?" And I'm like, no. But like, you know, over time you realize that like the people are paying the bills, right? Those people come here.
Yeah.
They're trying to lose weight. They're trying to feel better. They're trying to be better for their lives outside of here. And then, you know, you try to do everything for them. And it's just like in the Marine Corps, like where, you know, you're helping your buddy to the left and the right of you, you're kind of helping the people that are in the gym, you know, in your classes, you know, as much as you can. Try to, you know, they're here to pay you, and like you could try to give them everything that you have and every bit of knowledge, and then do it again and do it again and do it again and just keep doing. So I think
I like one of the things I talked about with my coaches a lot is we work for our clients. We work for them. And they're our bosses, and we have, you know, 400 bosses, I like to say. And so does my GM Alex. And then that's the case. I'm listening to Bill Belichick's new book right now. And I've also read like Pete Carroll's book, and I saw a clip recently of Pete Carroll talking about coaching philosophy at his, like, you know, class at USC that he was doing this last year. And he was talking about the different types of leadership and how, you know, on one end of the spectrum, you have like the militaristic sort of authoritarian leader where it's like the military, you break people down to have them assimilate and fall in line. And on the other end, so like you have coaches like that, like Bill Belichick's a great example of, if you didn't fit into his system, you're gone.
Yeah,
like they don't want you here. Whereas Pete, and I'm a Seahawks fan, so I'm a Pete guy. Love me some Pete ball. Whereas Pete, he would take guys that were kind of the misfit toys, find their superpower, embrace that, and try and bring that up for them to show those values and be themselves. And there's coaches on every end in the middle of the spectrum, but I feel like I lean to the left in that regard, where I'd rather bring people up, support them where they're at, meet them where they're at. And it's probably better from a business standpoint, especially if we're trying to keep clients. And, you know, I would say a majority of clientele, even if they're competitors in sport, respond better to positive affirmation with, you know, maybe some constructive stuff to get them pushing forward, rather than you suck, do it better next time, go run a lap. And it's not like high school football, you know, hell week, you know?
Yeah. I think that's how you grow a business, is like, oh, this guy helped me go from here to there, instead of like fit into this system. I think over time you're going to have a better result with that kind of mindset.
There's a lot too that I think goes into this idea of like when you're doing any of these things, you want to try to create like a flywheel of some sort, where it's like, if you have a system of training and a gym that is constantly building people up, those people are going to feel good. They're going to talk to their friends. You start to build this sort of like, it's like anti-churn to begin with. Like, they're going to feel better just being there. even if you can't deliver the results they want, if they feel like you care, they feel like you're doing everything you can, and you're leading with that sort of mentality, like they're the boss, that you work for them, it keeps them around. But on top of that, like what Zach's saying is, if you build this system of trying to make everybody feel like, you're putting in the effort and you care, and you show this, it's going to make them want to talk about the gym to other people. Word of mouth is a huge driver in these gyms. So it's like you can have these different things where I know a coach, you probably know him too, but I won't say his name, but he used to have a gym where the first day you'd come in, he would just try to break you. And he was like, I'm just going to destroy these people. And if they come back the next day, then that means they were meant to be here. And if they don't come back, then no. And it's like, you might break some dude who just feels like you're being an asshole to him. And he never comes back and just keeps talking negatively. He doesn't have a gym anymore, but it's like,
no way.
The idea of like focusing on not just the immediate thing, but like, what are the little things we can do right now? Checking in with clients, showing them you care, putting the effort in, making the details count. It just spins up that flywheel of like, you're going to have so much more success on every front for the same product, same effort. And it just becomes easier and easier the more you do that same thing, right?
Yeah. 100%. Like, you got to care about your people.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you don't have a business.
100%.
True.
One of the things, Ryan, I know you're doing a lot right now is S&C for jiu-jitsu athletes, and you just so happen to be next to a jiu-jitsu school, which seems like that's a freaking golden ticket right there. Yeah. I've been talking to a lot of coaches, lately, even in like coaches in weightlifting, who have been getting clients who are doing jiu-jitsu. I train jiu-jitsu myself, been training for 6 years. What have you done to break into that market, and how can other coaches learn from you on how they can do the same thing and scale a business like that? Because just real quick, like, I find it difficult to charge jiu-jitsu people. Well, I find it difficult to retain those people because they're already paying $200 something a month to train jiu-jitsu. And so it's not likely they'll pay another $100, $200, $300 a month for S&C, or just coaching outside of jiu-jitsu. What have you done to make that reasonable work and work for the business?
I think when you're I do jiu-jitsu as well, and I think that's where it kind of comes from. So like rolling with guys, becoming friends, and being like, it would get easier if you went next door, and then kind of showing them the ropes of like, hey, this is how we get stronger. And then once, I have like 3 or 4 that have gotten stronger. Now I have like more and more guys coming over because these guys are like way stronger than they used to be. They're like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, no, they're just getting stronger, and it's very different. It kind of sucks for me because now they're stronger and I got to train harder and things like that. But like, I think doing jiu-jitsu, just putting yourself in there, and then like, if you're strong, I think you can like show people like being strong helps in jiu-jitsu, and then kind of go from there. But like, once I have these people in, it's just like like a very basic strength and conditioning program, like, back squat, bench press, deadlift, and we do a little bit of conditioning, and they get a lot of conditioning in jiu-jitsu. So just helping them out a little bit more. And it does wonders for not only like the guys that I have are all older. So like injury prevention, they feel way better when they're on the mats. They're not as beat up as they used to be. My son is running around in the.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, it's all good.
It is funny though. I've seen the culture shift in jiu-jitsu to like, it used to be you train jiu-jitsu, that's what you do, and if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, just do more jiu-jitsu. And it's changed now to, okay, yeah, do lots of jiu-jitsu, but like, you should probably be in the gym 3 to 4 days a week as well on top of that if you want to make progress in goals. It doesn't need to be 3 to 4, it could be 2. Something's better than nothing. But like, one of my professors trains with me. He's a black belt. He's doing Masters World, and he's really, really good. Yeah. And he's lifting 3 days a week now. And like, I've been blown away without him having lots of like in-gym training experience. Just the amount of power output he has, like with his hips and legs, is insane. His bench sucks because his arms are super long. He's 6'4". But I've been blown away with like some of these guys have extreme, crazy like leverages and power that they've just developed over 15, 20 years of training.
which I think you're going to, but I think that benefit of adding that strength and conditioning in is going to help. Like that guy that's doing black belt worlds he's going to blow everybody out of the water, because all those other guys have just been training and they probably have that mindset of just training for years, and he's going to do wonderful things with a little S&C work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because like the other thing on that side, and I know like Max, even this aligns like with your weightlifting background and like how you were coached. It's like jiu-jitsu still is old school and stuck in the mindset of like you just training every day should just be so hard. It should be so difficult, and you should just grind yourself to death. And you do this every single day, and then you just go into your tournament. And there's no like, I look at my gym and I've kind of like in my mind started to like think about like at least with my jiu-jitsu training, like how can I periodize my roles? Like what's my goal today? Am I going to take backs? Am I trying to like almost want to throw up after a round, or like am I working on technique and not going to get sloppy? Because what happens is if you're fatigued in jiu-jitsu training, you're then sloppy, you're going to bad habits, old habits, and you're not progressing. So it's like finding the balance. But I haven't had a professor. I love my school. They probably don't even listen to this podcast, so it's fine. But like no one has been like, okay, today we're working on this, and like we don't want you to go 100% because XYZ factor. No, it's just like you just go balls to the wall every day. And I know based on sports performance background, that's not the answer.
Yeah, I think my school's that same way. Like our professor, he was like, if you have a like today, he's like, if you have a competition coming up, you're not taking any rounds off. I was like, okay. All right. I do I'm competing on Sunday, and I was like, I'll see you later. I got a podcast to do. But it's just like you got to roll. You got to roll real hard all the time and go balls to the wall. And it's like, I don't know. There's like take it easy. Work on the back. Work on side control. Work on get into the mount, which is probably not the best position anymore. But like work on those things that will help you progress in the sport, not necessarily go hard all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you write, so as far as like the nuts and bolts of your training with your athletes or your clients, are you writing programming for everybody individually? Do you just run classes? Is it a combo of both?
So I write like a basic like strength and conditioning program, kind of Monday through Friday, and then I coach the Saturday, Sunday classes. So based on who's in that class is kind of what I kind of come up on the top of my head in the morning, just who shows up, and then go from there. For like the guys that come for like jiu-jitsu, I write a little program for them. They come Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon. I have like a program I have for them. And then the weightlifters, I have them on a program, and then I'll give them we have our like weightlifting club has like a regular like kind of template. And then on like the Tuesday, Thursday deal, I'll give the individual that needs any like, hey, you need to work on keeping the bar close. We're going to do this. Your jerk needs some help. We're going to work on that, or like snatch work or something like that. I'll give them some individual stuff on the off days that the club doesn't need. And then I have personal training clients.
Definitely.
Right.
What is you've been in this gym ownership game for a long time. What does success look like for you now? Like, where are you going? What's the vision of this? And yeah, just share some of that stuff.
So my vision is to obviously grow the gym here in Warwick, New York, but also like go online, build the weightlifting club, bigger than it has been. We're getting bigger, but grow that, and then grow online more and more, help more people that I, can and have over the years, get more into like the military aspect of things. I want to try to help kids like going into the military. Like I feel like when you were in high school, there was always like, hey, take this SAT prep book, but there's never like hey, this is like how you get into the military. Like this is a fitness thing you should do to get into the military. Like I don't feel like there's been any of that. So I'm going to try to work on bringing that into into the fold. We have obesity, health, and shit like that is like a national security issue right now. So I think helping kids is kind of like where I see myself going long term with everything.
Nice.
Love that.
What do you do outside of the gym? Like, is everything, your whole business is just brick and mortar? Do you have any kind of online or remote stuff or?
Yeah, I have I had one of my national weightlifters. She just moved to Texas. She got married to an Air Force guy. So she's like in Texas. So I have them. Then I coach Kyle White. He's a Medal of Honor recipient. He's in North Carolina. I coach him online. And then there's a couple other guys that are like powerlifters that I'll coach online, and then some random friends here and there that are online. But that's it. And then try to bring all my people online, and then just grow from there. I want to have I would love to go to like Brexer Barbell has or Bear Barbell, whatever you want to call them. I don't know how to say their name. They have 280 athletes going to these meets, and we happen to lift with. I have two girls that are national level lifters, and they all we share platforms with them, and there's 40 of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I would like that too. I like that, but I don't want to I have no desire to take fucking Brexer people to my team. I want to take people that never heard of weightlifting, walked in my door, or came from somewhere, and then I want to grow the sport. I don't want to take Max's athletes. I don't want to take Zach's athletes. I want to take people I see in ShopRite or the grocery store and hey, you want to be a weightlifter? Come, let me show you this stuff. That's how I want to grow the sport. I don't want to all this infighting nonsense and I'll take you and
Coaching.
Now you are this. I'm like, what's going on? We're Team USA anyway. Who cares?
Right.
It's funny. I was talking to one of my coaches today, literally on the drive here. He's someone I recently brought on, someone I mentored. He actually was New Jersey, owned a gym in New Jersey, Crank Sports Performance for 5 years, sold it, and moved to California. And I just brought him on. And he has a collegiate soccer background, powerlifting background, things like that. And we were talking about how one of our podcast clips, Max, I don't know if you saw this, Michael Cohen's clip talking about the weightlifting development for coaches, and we ruffled some feathers, some good, some bad, which is great. That's let's go social media. But I was talking to him about this, and he's like, in other sports, like professional sports, coaches don't do that. All coaches do, they go, oh man, you're running a really great defense. Can I learn from you? Yeah. And they ask questions. Whereas for some reason in our barbell sports, it's secretive, talking shit, infighting, and it just all it is hurting the development of our sports. And I don't know why. I mean, Max, do you have any thoughts on this? Why is it that way here?
I think it boils down to something where I don't think people yet understand that it's not a game of knowledge. This will become obvious at some point, but everybody will understand what good training is, good programming, all of that. It's a game of execution, right? So it's they understand that in American football. It's nobody has some secret. You can have a secret play, but nobody has secret strategies. Everyone understands hey, you got to get the ball in the end zone, right? They come up with different ways of doing it, but it's not even, the problem isn't will this theoretically work? It's can we execute our plan against the opposition and get more points? And in powerlifting and weightlifting, it's they look at it a lot as my secret thing will work and I can't share it with anybody else because then they'll get good, they'll use it and they'll get good. When the reality is it's always going to come down to execution. Can you get the best athletes? Can you do a great job every single day? And can you deliver? And that's the thing that's going to get people to the top. Because, I mean, we've all seen it a million times. The most talented people in the world are never really the top performers. And if they're the most talented person and they work extremely hard and execute well, then you get, the phenoms. But it's so cliche to see it where, great teams, great coaches, all these things, they fall short because they don't execute well. They don't do the thing day to day that makes it work. So I think it falls to this thing where people think of it as secret knowledge is more important than being able to actually execute and deliver and do a great job every rep, every day, every training cycle.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I wonder too, like what you said about like American football, like a secret play. Well, once they run the play,
Yeah,
it's out
yeah,
there. And
yeah,
so you've blown
exactly.
your load. Here's a
Yeah,
secret play. And then my favorite is when someone runs the same play over and over again because it keeps working and then the
yeah,
opposition can't stop it. Whereas with training,
yeah,
if an athlete goes to the platform and they do well, maybe we don't know what they were doing in the gym. And let's say they do poorly, it's kind of same thing. It's like this secret training they've been doing, good or bad, and we don't know. But at the same time, like I wonder, yeah, how much of it really is like the training versus what you said. It's just the execution of the athlete.
yeah,
It performs well in competition, or they're someone who doesn't. And if someone
yeah.
else was in that system, they would perform differently just because they're a different person with different adaptations, right?
Yeah. And it's like coaching too. It's like a huge thing. Like culture is so big when you have a brick and mortar gym. It's like building a team and a culture. And you have to remember in a lot of cases, I'm not saying this particularly about any one club, clubs that have huge attendance, they may be optimizing for something that is not performance. They're optimizing for having a giant team, which
Mhm.
might include a lot of other stuff that goes into that
Yeah.
game, which is not about excellence and performance. It might be all about like community and culture and bad mouthing everyone else and who knows whatever exists in these worlds. But it's like the people that are performing at the top, the coaches that are delivering, and those people that are have a good balance of all those things. I don't think they just can't fall apart. Those coaches are going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to grow. And yeah, it's a funny thing. It's a weird world for sure.
I think as well,
Definitely.
like with the training, I think we all have like everyone does snatch, clean, and jerk. We do the percentages.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
follows years and years of the training. I think it comes down to also the coaches, like
Yes.
putting it into like all of that training manual that's been out there has been for athletes that were paid to just lift weights or do their sport.
Yeah.
I think nowadays a lot of our people are working, they have families. Like we don't have like this, like I have people that are 40 years old, like they have 4 kids, this, that, and the other thing, and they're living a life. Like, so I, as a coach, I have to
Yeah.
like, okay, well, 60% works today. Hey, go in the gym and have fun.
Yeah.
And that keeps them coming. And then I think that's where that
Yep.
program starts working. And then it kind of, that positivity breeds positivity. Like maybe those other
Mhm.
coaches or like these other programs are doing stuff that necessarily like doesn't get people like wanting to be there
Yeah.
or whatever. So
And that to me is one of those things I think a lot of people they overlook. It's like, you know, execution in my mind is all about like, are you doing? You have a set of options you can have for the day. What can I do today? Are you going through that checklist every day, every time the same way? You could have a template program, but if you also do coaching on top of it and you modify and adjust in person and you give cues and you're in the mix, like that's going to work 10 out of 10 times. But if you're the kind of coach who's like, they just send out a template and they just forget it and they walk away, like there's no execution there. You're
yeah,
just letting it happen. The things that fall through the cracks fall through the cracks. And maybe it isn't a big deal any one day, but you compound that over years or months
yeah.
and it's like you just make no progress, right?
Yeah, I just had a weightlifting camp. I had like 7 people come for the weightlifting
Nice.
camp. Just threw it out there as like a fun thing to do for the club and just anybody to join. And I had a talk about intent. Like, what is your intent? Like for the day. Like
Yeah.
sometimes your intent is just to lift the barbell, and that's it because you're stressed out. Like the one guy was a state trooper. Like he might have had a fucking terrible day. So just lift the bar. Just come in and
Yeah.
move the barbell. Go home. You won today. Come back tomorrow. Cut that intent. But like some coaches, they'll program like you have to hit 80%. But like, what if your person can't do it? That's where like that coach and that human aspect of it, like, hey, I know you're stressed out. Like I could see you're fucking moving real slow, like tying your shoes. You can't even fucking bend over. Like maybe we don't go to 80% today. I don't know. Something like that, just like have that conversation with your athletes or know your athletes as well when they come into the gym.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ryan, I always like to sort of end with a good question. And what is so my question is, what is something you wish more new coaches understood?
Always be learning. I think a lot of coaches think they kind of come into the sport like, I know everything. Like, you can learn from anybody. I had one time I had a brand new guy come into the gym, and I was like, we're going to go over snatch. And I'm like trying to teach him to snatch. And I was like, he was looking at me weird. I'm like, let me see what you got. And he snatched like perfectly. He was German, and he did it his whole like high school and you know, when he was in school and all that. That's what all he did. That's what they did as like gym class. So like, you know, you don't always know everything. You got to know people, and then like coaches like, I'm going to teach you everything. It's like, well, maybe they already know some stuff, and then you can learn from people that are in your gym and the backgrounds they have, and kind of build your toolbox that way. That they might say something to you that you're like, oh shit, I never thought of it like that. And I think coaches like, no, I'm the only way to. This is a new coach is like, this is the manual. This is no.
Yep.
You know, so
Definitely
just be learning from everywhere.
Absolutely. Nice. Well, hey man, we appreciate you being on the podcast. We'll link all your information below. And we're excited for this one and appreciate you. And thanks for giving CoachLogik a shot as well. We're sponsored by CoachLogik, actually.
We are.
We know the owners, we know the founders. So we're really tight with them.
Yeah.
Really good guys. I hear they're awesome to be around.
Well, thanks for having me. Tall. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome, man. Cool.